Section 1. A glimmer of hope from ancient times. For centuries, the prevailing belief was that once our arteries began to clog and harden, the damage was simply irreversible. This process, known as atherosclerosis, was seen as a one-way street, an inevitable consequence of aging. We could only hope to slow it, but never truly halt or reverse. Yet, if we look back through the annals of medical history, we can find fascinating clues suggesting this grim outlook might not be the whole story. The idea that food could be our most powerful medicine is not a new concept. It is an ancient one, echoing through millennia of wisdom long before modern tools. The great physician of ancient Greece, Hippocrates, often called the father of medicine, famously advised, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." He understood over 2,000 years ago that what we consume has a profound impact on our health. He observed ailments improving or worsening with diet. While he lacked the language of cholesterol or plaques, he recognized a fundamental connection between sustenance and bodily function. This ancient wisdom laid the groundwork for a philosophy prioritizing prevention and lifestyle over intervention. In the East, practitioners of traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, long held that a balanced diet is essential for the free flow of qi and blood. Their system links specific foods to different organs and systems. They saw imbalances from poor diet leading to stagnation and blockage, much like clogged arteries. They prescribed specific herbs and dietary patterns rich in plants, and grains, to restore balance and promote circulation, a practice that continues today. These perspectives from the West, the East. Healing through simple, wholesome nutrition is not a fleeting trend. It's a deep-seated principle observed by healers for generations. They may not have run randomized controlled trials, but their careful observations led to the same conclusion. The path to a healthy heart and clear arteries begins on our plates with the food we choose every single day. Section 2. The 20th Century Pioneers. Challenging convention. As we moved into the 20th century, the world was grappling with a rising epidemic of heart disease. It quickly became the leading cause of death in Western nations, and the medical establishment was racing to find a solution. The focus was largely on surgical interventions and newly developed medications. The idea that diet could be the primary cause, and therefore the primary solution, was often dismissed as simplistic. However, a few brave and often ridiculed pioneers began to connect the dots, challenging the prevailing dogma and laying the scientific foundation for a dietary revolution that would save countless lives in the decades to come. One of the most prominent and controversial figures of this era was Ancel Keys. A physiologist from the University of Minnesota, Keys was struck by the dramatic differences in heart disease rates around the world. He observed that affluent American businessmen were dropping dead of heart attacks in their prime, while populations in places like southern Italy seemed largely immune. This led him to formulate his diet heart hypothesis, suggesting a direct link between dietary saturated fat blood cholesterol levels and the risk of heart disease. His landmark 7-country study was a monumental undertaking that profoundly shaped nutritional policy for decades. Although his work has faced criticism and re-evaluation over the years, Keys was instrumental in shifting the focus of cardiovascular research towards diet. He showed the world that heart disease was not just a matter of bad luck or bad genes, but was strongly influenced by lifestyle and, most importantly, by the fat content of our diet. His research forced the medical community to take nutrition seriously. Following in this vein, other researchers began conducting their own investigations. They noticed that during times of war and famine, when meat, dairy, and eggs became scarce and populations were forced to subsist on simple grains and vegetables, the rates of heart disease plummeted dramatically. For example, in countries like Norway during the Second World War, mortality from circulatory diseases dropped sharply, only to climb right back up again after the war, when access to fatty foods was restored. These real-world observations provided powerful, albeit tragic evidence that a diet based on simple plant foods could protect the heart. Section 3. The Rice Diet Miracle. Walter Kempner's Radical Results. Among the most astonishing yet often overlooked stories in nutritional medicine is that of Walter Kempner and his rice diet. A German physician who fled the Nazis and settled at Duke University in the 1930s, Kempner developed a radical dietary intervention for patients with malignant hypertension, for patients with advanced kidney failure. At the time, these conditions were considered a death sentence. There were no effective medications, and patients were simply sent home to die. Kempner believed a drastically simplified diet could let the body heal itself. His prescribed diet was shockingly simple and restrictive. It consisted of little more than white rice, fruit juice, sugar. It had an extremely low amount of sodium, fat, protein. It was a stark departure from normal eating patterns, designed to put the least metabolic strain on failing kidneys and a stressed cardiovascular system. Many colleagues called it quackery. They feared malnutrition and harm. Kempner pressed on regardless. The results he documented defied medical expectations. He treated hundreds deemed beyond hope. He documented progress with eye exam photos, reversed hemorrhages, reduced retinal swelling, and X-rays showing dramatically reduced heart size. Patients' sky-high blood pressure plummeted to normal. Symptoms of heart failure disappeared. Kidney disease symptoms often vanished. Kempner showed severe cardiovascular and renal disease could be reversed. He proved the body can heal when we stop injuring it with food. By removing dietary insults, excess salt, excess fat, animal protein, the body's healing took over, the arteries opened up, the overworked heart shrank back to normal, and the kidneys regained function. Though extreme and medically supervised, Walter Kempner proved dietary change could achieve the impossible. Section 4. Pritikin and Ornish, bringing reversal into the mainstream. Building on the groundwork laid by pioneers like Kempner, two later figures were instrumental in bringing the concept of heart disease reversal to a much wider public audience. The first was Nathan Pritikin, an inventor and engineer. After being diagnosed with severe heart disease himself, he became obsessed with finding a nutritional cure. He was unwilling to accept his doctor's grim prognosis. He delved into the existing medical literature. He examined population studies. He examined wartime data. Those studies showed low rates of heart disease in people who ate plant-based diets. He designed a program for himself based on these findings. Pritikin's program consisted of a very low-fat, high-fiber diet. Whole grains, vegetables, legumes, fruits. This was combined with a regimen of moderate daily exercise. To the astonishment of his doctors, his own heart disease symptoms completely resolved. He then opened the Pritikin Longevity Center to help others. Thousands of people flocked to his center. Many showed documented evidence of arterial unclogging. Pritikin became a popular, if sometimes controversial, public figure. He passionately advocated for lifestyle change over pills and surgery. In the late 1980s and 1990s, a young physician named Dr. Dean Ornish took this concept a step further. He wanted to prove, with the highest standards of scientific rigor, that lifestyle changes alone could reverse even severe coronary heart disease. He conducted the Lifestyle Heart Trial, a landmark randomized controlled trial. He took patients with advanced, angiographically proven heart disease. He assigned them to a control group receiving standard medical care, or others were assigned to an intensive lifestyle change group. This was the ultimate test of the diet's power. The results, published in The Lancet, were groundbreaking. The experimental group followed a very low-fat, whole-food, plant-based diet, stopped smoking, yoga meditation, engaged in moderate exercise. After just 1 year, the majority of patients in this group showed measurable reversal of their arterial blockages, as measured by quantitative coronary angiography. Their clogged arteries were literally getting wider. In contrast, the control group, which continued with standard care, saw their blockages worsen. Dr. Ornish had provided the definitive scientific proof that heart disease was in fact a reversible condition. Section 5. The Surgeon's Stand, Caldwell Esselstyn's Powerful Proof. While Dr. Ornish was proving reversal was possible, another esteemed physician was taking a similarly powerful, slightly different approach. Dr. Caldwell B. Esselstyn Jr., top surgeon at the Cleveland Clinic. He'd grown frustrated with the revolving door of cardiovascular care. He would perform technically perfect bypass surgeries, only to see patients return years later with new blockages because the root cause, their diet, hadn't been addressed. He set out to find a more permanent solution. Inspired by population data that influenced Pritikin and Ornish, he launched a small but powerful study in the mid-1980s. He recruited patients with advanced coronary artery disease. People who had failed bypass or angioplasty were told nothing more could be done. He put these no-option patients on the strictest whole-food plant-based diet. He eliminated all animal products. He eliminated all oils. He eliminated high-fat plant foods like nuts and avocados. He wanted them heart attack-proof. The results were staggering. Over 12 years, compliant patients suffered virtually no further cardiac events, no more heart attacks, no strokes, no need for further surgeries, an unprecedented outcome for such a sick group. He used coronary angiograms to show arteries healing and opening up. A diet intervention could halt progression and reverse heart disease. Compelling because it came from a surgeon at the center of interventionist medicine. He wasn't an outsider, he was the establishment. His conclusion: bypass surgery and stents. Treat symptoms, not the root cause. The true cure: lifelong commitment to a whole food, plant-based diet. His advocacy and patient success inspired thousands to reverse their heart disease. Section 6. Modern advocates and public figures have brought this message to a global audience. From presidents to physicians, the message has spread widely. The message of these pioneering doctors has continued to gain momentum in the 21st century, thanks in part to modern advocates. One of the most famous examples is former US President Bill Clinton. He underwent an emergency quadruple bypass surgery in 2004. He also underwent another stent procedure in 2010. He realized surgery alone was not a permanent fix. His arteries were still clogging despite top medical care. Seeking a sustainable solution, he consulted Dr. Dean Ornish. He also consulted Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. Convinced by the evidence, he dramatically changed his diet. He switched to a whole food, plant-based eating pattern. The results were remarkable. He lost significant weight. He felt healthier and more energetic than he had in decades. His public transformation put dietary reversal in the global spotlight. Alongside public figures, a new generation of physician advocates spreads this life-saving information.
I have dedicated my career to this through nutritionfacts.org.
Dr. Neil Barnard is the founder of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. He has conducted research showing this diet improves heart health. His work shows it can treat and even reverse type 2 diabetes. Often, patients can discontinue medications under doctor supervision. These modern doctors stand on the shoulders of giants. They use modern communication tools to get this message out. They host conferences. They write best-selling books. They are creating online resources. They empower individuals with the knowledge they need to prevent and reverse chronic disease. The message is clear and consistent. A whole food, plant-based diet is the most powerful tool for long-term health and vitality, beyond clinical trials and individual case studies. Some of the most compelling evidence for the power of a plant-based diet. It comes from studying entire populations. Researchers have identified several regions around the world known as blue zones. These are places where people live exceptionally long, healthy lives. They have astonishingly low rates of chronic disease. This includes very low rates of heart disease. One of the most famous and well-studied blue zones is Okinawa, Japan. It has long been known for a high concentration of centenarians. These are people living to 100 or more. For generations, the Okinawan diet was overwhelmingly plant-based. It was not chosen for ethics or health. It was simply what was available and affordable. Their diet centered on the purple sweet potato. They also ate a wide variety of other vegetables, green leafy greens, soybeans, tofu. miso, millet, rice. Meat was eaten only sparingly, especially pork, reserved for special occasions in very small quantities. The health outcomes were extraordinary. Okinawans suffered only a fraction of the heart disease, stroke, and cancer rates seen in Western countries. Their arteries remained soft and pliable well into old age. Many lived into their 90s and beyond, remaining active and healthy, free from chronic disease. Their example shows what happens when a whole population bases its diet on whole plant foods over a lifetime. Tragically, Okinawa now offers a cautionary tale. In recent decades, younger generations abandoned the traditional diet for a westernized pattern. More fast food, processed items, meat, dairy, and their health declined dramatically. Rates of obesity, heart disease, and diabetes have skyrocketed, and the Okinawan longevity advantage is disappearing. This confirms their exceptional health wasn't genetic, but tied to lifestyle, specifically diet. So how exactly does a diet based on whole plant foods work to halt and even reverse the clogging of our arteries? The process is a beautiful example of the body's innate ability to heal. It involves several interconnected mechanisms that reduce injury and promote repair. The first and most critical step is stopping the damage. Atherosclerosis begins when the artery's inner lining, the endothelium, is injured. The primary culprit is high cholesterol, specifically LDL, bad cholesterol. LDL particles penetrating arterial wall. A whole food, plant-based diet is the most effective way to lower LDL. It's naturally very low in saturated fat and completely free of dietary cholesterol, which come almost exclusively from animal products. At the same time, the diet is rich in soluble fiber. Oats, beans, barley, certain fruits. Soluble fiber acts like a sponge in the gut, binding to cholesterol, binding to bile acids, and escorting them out of the body. Low harmful fats plus high soluble fiber brings cholesterol into a safe range. Once injury from high LDL stops, healing can begin. Arterial inflammation subsides. Soft, unstable plaques stabilize and shrink. Macrophages, the body's cleanup crew, remove cholesterol from plaques. It's not fast, but with consistency it is steady. Plant foods are packed with antioxidants. They are also rich in phytonutrients. They protect endothelial cells from oxidative stress. They also boost endothelial function, raising nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide helps arteries relax and dilate. This improves blood flow and lowers blood pressure, so the diet works on multiple fronts. It removes the cause of injury. It also provides nutrients for repair. Avoid highly processed products. Avoid all oils. A sample day might look something like this. For breakfast, have a large bowl of oatmeal. Cook the oatmeal with water, or use a plant-based milk. Top it with fresh berries, and add a sprinkle of flaxseed. For lunch, enjoy a big salad. Include mixed greens, add colorful vegetables, and a hearty serving of chickpeas. Or choose black beans. Top it with a simple oil-free vinaigrette. For dinner, try a lentil shepherd's pie, or a bean burrito bowl. Serve it with brown rice and salsa. Or enjoy a delicious curry, made with potatoes, made with cauliflower, and peas. Snacks can be a piece of fruit, or a handful of raw vegetables, or some whole grain crackers. Making the switch can be easier if you focus on simple swaps. Instead of beef mince in your bolognese, try using brown lentils. Try using brown lentils, or try using green lentils. Instead of a chicken sandwich for lunch, try a plant-based alternative. Try a hummus and roasted vegetable wrap on a whole wheat tortilla. If you love burgers, try a hearty mushroom patty, or try a bean-based burger patty. Serve it on a whole grain bun. Instead of using oil to saute your vegetables, use a different method. Use a splash of water, or vegetable broth, or soy sauce. These small changes can add up to make a huge difference to your health over time. It is also important to pay attention to sodium intake. Flavor your food with herbs. Use spices, use garlic, use onions, use citrus juice instead of salt. Reading labels is key. Processed foods can contain shocking amounts of hidden sodium. The beauty of this diet is that it focuses on whole foods. You naturally control your intake of salt, you avoid unhealthy fats, you avoid excess calories. This approach also maximizes your intake of fiber. It increases vitamins, it increases minerals, and it increases protective phytonutrients. It's a simple, powerful, and delicious way to eat for a long and healthy life. While this dietary approach has a remarkable track record, safety is important, and evidence supports its effectiveness. It is important to proceed with knowledge and care, especially for certain individuals. If you have been diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, CKD, consult your doctor or nephrologist before making significant dietary changes. While a plant-based diet can be very beneficial for the kidneys, it may require specific adjustments: protein, potassium, phosphorus. A registered dietitian knowledgeable in plant-based and renal diets can be an invaluable partner. This diet can rapidly lower blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol levels. If you take medications for these conditions, your dosage may need rapid adjustment. Work closely with your physician to monitor your numbers and adjust safely. Never stop or change your medication on your own. This lifestyle is a powerful adjunct, not a replacement for medical care and supervision. Work with your doctor to achieve the best possible health. The evidence, from historical observation to modern rigorous scientific trials, is clear and compelling. Heart disease is not an inevitable fate. For most people, it is preventable and even reversible. The key is not a new pill or a futuristic surgical procedure, but a simple, profound change in what we eat every day. By shifting to whole plant foods, you begin to change the biology of your blood vessels. We can stop disease progression with sustained dietary change, and we can begin the remarkable process of healing. This knowledge offers hope and empowerment. It puts control back into your hands. Every meal is an opportunity to build a healthier heart and cleaner arteries. The journey begins with a single step. A single meal can start that journey. It does not require perfection. It rewards consistency. By embracing this way of eating, you add years to your life, and you add life to your years. You create a future of health, vitality, and well-being. The power to heal is, quite literally, at the end of your fork.